Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I'm bringing back my good friend, Catherine Mary Stewart, and it's the 30th anniversary of her movie Dudes, the quirky punk rock western movie from 1988. And today we're going to talk a little bit about that movie. And today's a very sad day. We lost the CNN commentator, Anthony Bourdain. Really sad story. Everybody is just freaking out about it. Rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain. And yeah, so today I'll be talking to Catherine Mary Stewart about the 30th anniversary of Dudes. And I'll be calling her in just a moment.
Hello.
Hey Kathy, it's Tommy. Welcome back.
Hi, thanks. How you doing?
I am great. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I didn't realize you have my landline, but that's good because sometimes the cell phone goes out. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's my birthday week. I'm 35.
Wow! Congratulations. How do you feel?
Thank you. Well, it's funny. I was kind of depressed the last month or so. There's some dark stuff that's been going on in my life. I thought I was going through a pre-midlife crisis, but I actually feel really good now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I found out I'm going to be covering a first ever Comic-Con that's starting in Sacramento at the end of the month.
Fun! What do you mean you're covering it?
Oh, I'm going to be press.
Excellent. That's really great.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. And funny thing is, it's the same weekend as my favorite holiday that nobody knows about, National Belly Button Day.
You're right. I did not know about National Belly Button Day.
Well, it's one of those holidays that's taboo, so it's underground, you know.
It's taboo. How come it's taboo?
Well, it's actually subjective. You know, some people think the belly button is a private body part, and some people think it's not a private part.
A lot of people show it off for being such a private part.
Well, you remember back in the 60s, Barbara Eden couldn't show it off on I Dream of Jeannie?
That's right, when she was the genie, when I Dream of Jeannie, right?
Yeah. So some people think it is, and some people think it isn't.
Well, then the 70s came along, and I was like, check out the belly button.
Oh, yeah. What's her name? Mariette Hartley. She had two of them in that Gene Roddenberry sci-fi show.
Really? Just to rub it in everybody's faces.
Yep, it sure did.
That's funny.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're over your mild depression. We all go through them periodically.
Well, Anthony Bourdain sure did. That was so sad.
Oh my God! What? I'm sorry. What?
Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, Anthony Bourdain. I was thinking of Kate Spade recently.
Oh yeah, her too.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, that was pretty sad.
Really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Can't imagine how desperate they must feel.
Yeah, it's really, really shocking. You know, so many people in this day and age, you know, are not, you know, living past 50 or 60 like people did, you know, many years ago when they would live all the way to 90.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Well, it's a weird time, actually, when you think about it.
Very weird time, yes. So can you believe it's been 30 years since Dudes?
You know, I can't believe that I've done anything 30 years ago. I mean, it's like, yeah, I remember being a kid, and my mom would say, oh, yes, this dress or something is 10 years old. I'd be like, oh, my God, I can't imagine anything being 10 years old. And now, you know, I think about how long I've been in the business, and it's almost 40 years. It's insane. Yeah.
Now, this is one of those movies of yours that I discovered later in life. How did you get the role of Jesse?
Actually, I was doing Night Flyers. Nina Axelrod, the casting director,
Yep.
cast me in Night Flyers. I guess she recommended me for this, so I sat down one day with Penelope Spheris and her and just talked, and Penelope liked what she saw, I guess, and hired me on the spot. So that's how I got that one, which is great.
Wow. Yeah, Nina Axelrod, she was a cult movie actress in the early 80s, and she became a casting director.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right.
quite crazy there. Yeah, in this movie, you got to be like the Maureen O'Hara role that she did in the John Wayne westerns.
I guess so, a little bit, anyway. Yeah, I loved, that's one of the things that really attracted me to the part was I've always kind of fantasized about being on a Western, in a Western. I used to love watching Westerns because as a kid I just thought it was so romantic, galloping across the plains, and I've always loved horses and firing guns. All seemed like a lot of fun to me at the time when I was a kid. And so when this came along and there was this character who's kind of this tough, independent woman who can ride horses and shoot guns, I thought, once again, I found a role that I can live vicariously through. It's sort of always been kind of like a dream role for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I think you had better hair than Maureen O'Hara in this movie.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they dyed my hair that bright red color. Sort of, I don't know if it even came off across on screen as bright as it did in real life, but it was like fluorescent. But I loved it. It was fun. It's one of the things about this business is you just get to play all these different crazy characters, and make a living at doing it. And it's so great, so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine having to sit behind a desk every day for 8 hours a day, pumping out the same thing all the time. So I'm lucky that way.
Oh, certainly. I never got to do the desk thing. I got to be a security guard and be on my feet for 8 hours a day, but yeah.
That's another, kind of stressful day, I would think. Exhausting, I would think.
It was stressful, but it was very rewarding, especially at the end of the day when I would get all these girls' phone numbers.
Oh, there you go, a man in uniform,
Yep, it was a lot of fun. I did in a junior college. Yeah, I was always getting numbers, and there's all these college girls and all these teachers and administrators. They all lived on campus and stuff too. So it was a fun job for a summer, and then thank God I didn't have to do it anymore after I had my accident. Not too long after that though.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this right now.
What happened? I'm sure you've told me, but what was your accident?
What happened was me and my now ex-friend, we were up in San Francisco. It was just another night of partying. Basically, we did it all the time, and we came back. I fell asleep in the car. He fell asleep at the wheel, and then we landed right in the middle of the road. We got out just fine, but then a car collided with ours, and then the impact hit us, and we were right in the middle of the highway.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not so good. What happened? What were your injuries?
Wow. Let's see. Broke my hand. Broke my leg in 7 places. I had a mild heart attack. Oh God, many things. Lost a couple back teeth. I crushed my sternum. A lot of things. I got the worst of all the injuries. He just broke his hand, his pelvis, and he's got some damage in his eye. He can't see very well out of one of his eyes. I got the worst of it, and I got to be in a coma for 30 days.
You were in a coma for 30 days?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. It was a pretty strange time, I'll tell you. And
Mm.
5
How old
months.
were you?
I was 31 at the time. I'm 35 now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't very long ago.
Yeah. Just 3 years ago.
Wowee. Holy smokes. Why aren't you friends with your friend anymore?
Oh, because there was a setup behind the whole thing, and we went through a legal thing over it.
That's too bad.
Yeah. It was a pretty complicated thing, but I don't know. Everything's better now. You know, it was a really dark time at that time, but things are better now. You know, I mean, I'm not drinking anymore because I got some liver damage and everything, but I'm better than I was.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So,
wow. Life's an adventure, huh?
yes, it sure is. It sure is.
Man.
So,
what else do you need to know?
So, yeah, Dudes is this quirky mix of like Repo Man meets Radioactive Dreams in the West. In fact, at the same time the movie came out, Alex Cox, who made Repo Man, made a serious Western with Ed Harris called Walker, and it was the biggest disaster at Universal Studios in 1987.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
That's not good. Well, this isn't, you wouldn't call this a classic Western.
No.
So it's the same, it was released in the same year, but a slightly different take on a Western, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, everyone was doing like all these quirky takes on certain genres back in the 80s.
Yes, they were. And I was in many of them.
Yes, you sure were. Night of the Comet especially.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at that time, Westerns were no longer in demand unless Clint Eastwood was making them.
Right.
You know? And because, God, from the 1930s to like the 70s, there was like 10, 15 Westerns made a year.
Yeah, I know. They were huge. Like I said, I used to love watching them when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, yeah, they just, as a lot of genres do, they just kind of die out for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. Just like the pirate movie was very popular in the old days too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Swashbuckling and like that kind of. Now, superheroes are different nowadays.
Oh yeah. That kind of started in the 70s. You know, with Superman and stuff like that. What was it like working with John Cryer?
Great. Not too long, a couple of years ago, Penelope Ferris had a retrospective of her work at UCLA, and she was a student there. That's where she got into directing, and so they did this retrospective, and they screened Dudes, and John Cryer and Daniel Roebuck and a bunch of people showed up for a Q&A, and that was really cool because I'd seen Daniel Roebuck. I'd been in touch with him a couple of times, but John Cryer I hadn't seen since shooting the movie, basically. And so it was really, really fun to get together, and Daniel set up this lunch for us like the next day to just kind of reminisce, and it was great. It was really fun to see them all these years later and watching this crazy movie. Yeah, it was great, and working with him, of course, at that time was I guess maybe Pretty in Pink was his big thing at that time. So we all knew who John Cryer was, and Daniel Roebuck had been in River's Edge, I think, at that time. So I mean, it was just really cool to be able to work with him. And yeah, he was great. His character is very quirky in this thing, and I sort of play the older woman, more experienced and worldly woman that we have a little fling, a little overnight camp out thing, which was fun because it was kind of awkward, but that's exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I interviewed Tiffany Helm, who's Brooke Bundy's daughter.
Uh-huh.
She did a movie with John Cryer called O.C. and Stiggs, and she said he was like a younger brother to her on that movie. And over the years, she's been trying to get in touch with him, but ever since he's done 2.5 Men, it's really hard to get through his management, and it's like really devastating to her. She said.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah. I have had dinner with he and his wife since the whole Dudes thing, but they've got a whole production company now. So he keeps very busy. He's like, I haven't really tried to get in touch with him again, but yeah, he's the only reason I'm sure that I could get in touch with him is because we all exchanged numbers and stuff like that. It's sort of reunion that we had. But no, he's a really good guy.
Yeah. And Daniel Roebuck, like, no matter what I see him in, I always remember him as Jay Leno in The Late Shift.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. He's one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet, too. He directed and wrote this movie called Getting Grace. And he asked me if I would play his sister in it, which I couldn't do. I forget why. But I couldn't. But he and I have always stayed, close. And I'm just looking up just to make sure I got the name. Yeah, Getting Grace. That's right. He directed it. He was in it as well. And I'm also friends with a good friend of his, Marcia Dietland, who it's so funny, we've had this, she was in Getting Grace, but she lives in New York, and we've always sort of crossed paths through auditions and things like that, and finally she and I, like a few months ago, said, we have got to just get lunch, and now we see each other all the time, so she's like Daniel Roebuck's best friend, and I love Danny, and I went to, I was in LA recently, and he was doing a screening of Getting Grace, like the night that I arrived, so I saw him then. Anyway, really, really, really good guy. Good actor. Good director, too, as it turns out.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was Flea like?
I didn't really... Flea was sort of standoffish in a way. I mean, I didn't really get to know Flea very well. He seemed very cool. Yeah, I mean, I love his music, that's for sure. But yeah, he was sort of doing his own thing, He was taking it all very, very seriously. I think this must have been one of his first acting roles. Talk about a quirky role that he had, but I thought he was terrific in it. But I know I met him and we did a few scenes together. But the stuff that I did mostly in Dudes was mostly just with John Cryer and Daniel Roebuck. Like the three of us. So there was very little crossing paths with a lot of the other actors.
There's also Lee Ving from Fear is in it.
Yeah.
Too. And also your Night Flyers co-star Glenn Withrow. Who
I adore.
Yeah.
I love Glenn Withrow. I loved working with him in Night Flyers. I just love him. Again, didn't see too much of him in this shoot, but yeah, one of my favorite guys.
Yeah, he's a very quirky actor. I remember he was in this comedy movie with John Candy and Eugene Levy called Armed and Dangerous, where he played this Charles Manson type of criminal. He had a swastika on his forehead and stuff, and he's Eugene Levy's his lawyer. And he tells him that if he goes to jail, he'll kill him, and then he starts biting his neck. It's so funny.
Oh, yeah. He's great. He's just like, a free-for-all when it comes to acting, which is fantastic.
Yeah, he's very underrated, I think.
Oh, for sure.
And also that Elvis impersonator, Pete Wilcox.
Yeah, he was at the reunion, actually.
Did he look like Elvis?
Again, I don't know that much about him. But what a great character.
I saw him play Elvis one time or an Elvis impersonator one time on an episode of Full House, where John Stamos is depressed and he's in this diner, and like Pete Wilcox is this stranger who looks like Elvis, and he's like giving him advice, and John Stamos is like, has anybody ever told you you look like, and then he cuts him off and he's like, I know, Wayne Newton. Yeah, but did he look like Elvis when you saw him?
He had all the stuff. He looked like a Vegas Elvis, if you've seen those. They do the whole outfit and the hair and the glasses and the voice. Yeah, I mean, he definitely passed as Elvis for sure. And that specific, 70s kind of Elvis.
Nice. Yeah, Penelope Spheris, I mean, she did those documentaries, the decline of Western civilization, about punk rock and heavy metal and stuff. And this was a few years away before she would do Wayne's World. Right.
Yeah, right. She was quite a visionary, that Penelope. You should see some of her early UCLA films. They're crazy. You could tell that she was going to be something different, and she really had, like I said, a real specific sort of vision for what it is she wanted to do, which was great. I mean, she was quite a character, a little intimidating in a way. She's not a big person, but at the time, she had this long black hair, and she always dressed in black, and her skin was whiter than white, and always on the set, because we were basically shooting in the desert, she always had an umbrella or a giant hat or something to protect her from the sun. She was quite a character, quite an image on the set.
Yeah, I heard when she did Wayne's World, her and Mike Myers didn't get along very well, and there was a couple of times when he would put on sunglasses and imitate her, and have the whole crew cracking up.
Yeah. But I mean, you have to, I guess, be able to laugh at yourself if you put on this image or persona.
Yeah, certainly.
Because you're just, people are gonna notice it, obviously, and maybe comment on it.
Mm-hmm. This was one of the last movies too that Herb Jaffe produced.
Oh, you're kidding! Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, one of the next to last ones, and he contributed a lot to sci-fi and horror with Time After Time and Fright Night and Motel Hell. Was he a good producer to work with?
Again, not too much exposure to Herb Jaffe, but yeah, I mean, he hired me a couple of times, so that's good. He did Night Flyers as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he executive produced that one.
Yep. Yeah. So, I had great experiences on both those movies for the most part. So yeah, and I love the characters that I played. So I have nothing against Herb Jaffe, that's for sure.
Yeah. So you already knew how to ride a horse.
I did. Yeah. I never owned a horse, but I used to go to camp in the summer when I was a kid. It was like a ranch camp kind of a thing. So I had all sorts of literature about horses. I knew every part of their body. I just have this affinity for horses. I love them. I feel like I communicate well with them. I'm not afraid of them at all. I just love them, and so that's part of it. Your comfort level is the most important thing when it comes to being able to ride well.
Yeah, they're beautiful animals, I have to say.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. How hot was it in Arizona?
Yeah, honestly, I'm trying to think what time of year we shot, because it wasn't unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, my costumes were, I mean, I had some scenes where I was, sleeveless or whatever, but for the most part, it was comfortable. But then, I just love all that stuff. We weren't. Again, I was the stuff that we shot that was at the gas station. That was in California, kind of up in the mountains. I suppose it was supposed to be Arizona. When I shot like the scenes riding with John Cryer, through the trees and all that stuff, that was like. I think it was in New Mexico, but it was higher up in the mountains, so it never got really hot up there. I can't speak for what John and Daniel and all those guys went through, driving across the desert and stuff like that. But where I shot, it was very comfortable. And I love that country, so it was really so much. This was like kind of, I said before, sort of a fantasy role for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I lived in Arizona briefly in 2007, and when I first got there, it was about 80 degrees, and when I left on 4th of July that year, it was 120.
Yeah, that's down, I guess, right in the desert. It can get really super hot. Probably really cold at night, though.
Oh, yeah. As soon as I get back to the Bay Area, it was like 75.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Now, the movie didn't get like a big release. In fact, I heard that there was a legal battle over the VHS rights because Vista organization was trying to merge with Carolco Pictures at that time. So, like, the movie didn't get released on many screens, right?
I'm going to say right. You probably know more about it than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, I'm trying to remember if I even saw it in a theater. I'm not sure that I ever did. They must have had a screening for that, the cast and crew, but yeah, I guess we must have had that, but I don't think I ever paid, I've done that. I've gone to movies in theaters just to see what the reaction is like, but I don't believe I ever did that with Dudes. Yeah, I guess it didn't get a really broad distribution, sadly, but it's a pretty quirky movie. People are finding it now, it seems like. I mean, they released a DVD of it recently, and they had me interviewed for the extra portion of it, and so it's kind of fun. Hopefully it'll find its audience.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Blu-ray of it came out. You did interviews. Did you do a commentary track?
No, I didn't do a commentary track through the whole thing, no. I just did an interview, an on-camera interview.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm going to make it a point to get it soon.
Yeah. I should do that too, shouldn't I?
Yeah. So what were your favorite Westerns growing up?
Oh, Lordy. Let's see. Oh, gosh. Trick questions. These are the kind of things that I have to prepare for. Look up Westerns. Yeah, you got to give me a list of these kind of questions, because I'm like really bad at recalling names and things like on the spot.
Okay, I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
The Gunfighter with Gregory Peck. I love that one.
Nice.
Yeah. Even though it's a comedy, Laurel and Hardy's Way Out West. Love that.
Love it.
Rio Bravo. My favorite John Wayne movie is The Searchers, because I love Natalie Wood.
Oh, nice.
And, me and my dad, we used to watch the Western TV series that he grew up watching, like Bonanza and Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
The Virginian.
Yeah, I used to love Bonanza and Gunsmoke, for sure. One of my favorites was the original True Grit.
Oh, yeah.
I think in the 70s. I loved that movie.
Yeah, Kim Darby, she was huge for a while.
Yeah, I just love that movie so much. Well, I loved Butch Cassidy Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Love
was
that.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Love that movie.
Yeah. Kind of dug Dancing with Wolves. That was pretty cool.
Which one?
Dancing with Wolves.
Oh, Dance with Wolves. Oh, yeah, Dancing with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves. Dancing with Wolves. Dances with Wolves. Let's see. Yeah, that's. I did like watching the series though. That was fun.
Yeah, my personal favorite was Maverick.
Yeah, nice.
James Gardner, yeah, because it was kind of a Western comedy series, you know.
Right.
It had some really funny action in it and stuff.
Yeah.
There was this one show. Uh, what's his name? Who died young? Nick Adams. He had a show called The Rebel, and he was like a Civil War soldier in the West. And that was a good series.
Yeah.
You know.
The original Magnificent Seven was pretty cool.
Oh, love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
The sequels were terrible, but that one was great.
You just can't. These sequels or these remakes, really. Were they sequels or remakes? Because they're always just, like, terrible. Yeah. I feel like.
Only occasionally there will be a good sequel, but that's so rare, especially nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I have 3 really good jokes for you.
Oh, good! Yay! We can't not do the jokes.
Yeah. How do you make an orange laugh?
You peel it. No.
Oh my God! Another guest I had that same punchline.
Mm-hmm.
No, you tickle its navel.
Aww, that's cute.
Yeah. How many Irishmen does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Okay, I'm gonna guess. How many Irishmen? I don't know. How many?
4. 3 to hold the light bulb, and 1 to start drinking till the room spins.
Ah, that's funny.
Yeah, my uncle told me that joke many years ago.
Nice.
I never forgot that one. He was a big drinker, so he liked that one a lot.
Yeah, that's funny.
How can you tell if an auto mechanic just had sex?
Uh-oh. This is going to be dirty. You always have to throw in a dirty one, don't you?
Yeah.
An auto mechanic just had sex. How?
One of his fingers is clean.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm still thinking about that one.
He left his wrench at home.
What's that?
He left his wrench at home. That's the only thing I can think of on that.
Oh, okay. Take your word for it.
Kathy, did I ever tell you I paint my nails?
You paint your nails?
Yep.
Yeah? No, you never told me that.
I've been doing that since I was 13. I just painted them a little while ago. They're pink.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Is this a joke again, or is this just reality?
It's reality.
Nice. I love it.
Mm-hmm. What color do you have?
Well, I just don't have the patience to do my hands, but because also I can't maintain nail polish on my fingernails somehow. It just comes off so quick. So I do my toes, and right now they're kind of like a blood red.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. I still haven't crossed over into the like blues and greens and grays yet. I'm sort of a purist with that, but I've got to get them. It's funny you should ask that, because I was thinking this morning I've got to get a pedicure soon. I'm thinking, should I go for something like, black or gray or green? I have done bright yellow before, which I really like. It's very summery.
Yeah, I've only done the toes. I mean, I tried the fingernails when I was younger. I didn't have the patience for that either, so I can relate.
Yeah, it's just not easy to maintain it. I don't know how people do. They must just like touch things very gingerly, and I'm just not that kind of gal. I'm not the kind of gal that touches only with the pad of my finger. You know, I get right in there.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, I had a teacher. She got me into the OPI nail polish brand.
That's nice of her.
Yeah, I've been getting that brand ever since. I like it better than Revlon.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind when I go to the nail place. I get them I like this one, this last nail polish I put on myself, but this nail polish is getting really old and kind of, you know, not very liquidy anymore. So I've just got to, like, you know, bear the brunt of paying some person to do my nails for me.
Yeah. Do you have any upcoming projects or any convention appearances or screenings?
Yeah, I'll be in London. I have a few conventions, actually, as it turns out. I was just talking to Sean Clark, my rep, this morning, and I'm going to London for the, what is it called? The London, it's not Comic-Con, it's like Movie Con or something like that, in July, doing that in mid-July. And then, let's see, look at all my stuff. In August, is that July? Yeah. See, it's like London Film and Comic-Con. Yeah, I was right. And Nick Castle and Lance Guest are going to be there. And hopefully Kelly Maroney. She's trying to get to that one, too, so that would be great. Then in August, I will be at Scares That Care in Williamsburg, Virginia. August, the weekend of Friday the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then at the end of August, I'll be at the Horror Hound in Indianapolis. Yeah. And Nick and Lance are going to be at that as well. And somebody's going to bring a Last Starfighter arcade game to that one.
Oh, I want to see that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I heard Horror Hound is a really good show.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I've been to that one before. I've been to Indianapolis. Maybe it was Horror Hound. I'm not positive. But, yeah, I'm excited. It'll be fun. It's also always fun to go with, like, Lance for sure. And Nick, he's going to be there, too. So that'll be really fun.
Yeah, Scares That Care. They sponsored the after party at Monsterpalooza in the fall. And,
oh, they did? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a really good organization. And
yeah, it sounds like it is, for sure.
That should be a pretty good show.
Yeah, and Williamsburg is really cool. I've been there a couple of times.
Nice. So, Kathy, I always love talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for thinking of me and reminding me that it's been 30 years since Dudes was released.
Well, it's been longer for the Apple, and that's the next one I want to do.
Oh my God! Yeah, talk about making me feel old. Holy smokes! Yeah, that was my very first movie ever. Yep. So yeah, we'll have to talk about that one. That's a crazy. You've seen it? I take it.
Oh yes. I remember, like, back in the mid-'90s on VH1, they used to have, like, musical weekends, and they would show that one, and Fame, and Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, see, those are two of my favorite films, Fame and Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, what's that one? Oh, God, it came out in the early 70s. Oh, Godspell.
Oh, Godspell, yeah.
Victor Garber.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy, he comes from a comedy background, and he's a pretty good actor. He's very underrated.
Yeah. There's just too many damn actors out there.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's been great to talk to you too, and let me know when this is going to be out, and I'll I'll put it on my web page and my Facebook page and everything.
Yep, it'll be out pretty shortly.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, take care of yourself.
You too. Have a great day.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Catherine Mary Stewart. Ain't she a sweetheart, as always? Oh, thank you so much, Kathy. That was a pretty cool one. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and all of that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.